You did that for clickbait, huh? Alright. I guess anything else? I get sued all the time. Y'all, stop it.
New drama tonight involving a controversial politician in the south suburbs. Tiffany Henyard was the only Thornton Township leader to show up for a scheduled...
You won't believe what just happened at the latest Dalton Village board meeting. Absolute mayhem unfolded as Mayor Tiffany Henyard was arrested in the middle of a live broadcast. The chaos escalated so quickly that police had to intervene, forcibly removing her from the meeting as stunned viewers watched in real time. The situation spiraled so far out of control that the live feed had to be cut, leaving everyone in shock. It sounds like a plot twist straight out of a TV drama, but this was real life, and it all went down in Dalton, Illinois. The fallout from this wild incident is sure to have the entire community talking for weeks to come.
I don't believe that is legally correct. That's just not the way municipalities operate.
Now let's get into it, because this story is packed with so much drama, you'll want every last detail. Here's how it all went down. Mayor Tiffany Henyard, no stranger to controversy, has been at odds with the village trustees for months. If you've been keeping up with the news, you already know their relationship has been anything but smooth. Clashes over decisions, appointments, and just about everything else have been a constant. But this latest board meeting took things to a whole new level, and what happened next left everyone stunned.
On questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard. But we only knew half the story.
Eyewitnesses described the atmosphere at the meeting as electric, with tension so thick you could feel it in the air. It was as if everyone present knew something dramatic was about to unfold. A necessary change due to the growing Park District building, a necessary change due to the growing crowds that have turned Dalton's government meetings into must-see spectacles. The village hall could no longer legally accommodate the swelling number of residents drawn to the ongoing political turmoil. Some attendees showed up out of genuine concern for their community's governance, while others came purely to witness the spectacle of controversy that now seems to define every interaction involving Mayor Tiffany Henyard. But as the night unfolded, it became clear that this meeting would be unlike any other. Mayor Tiffany Henyard was in no mood to conform to expectations or follow the typical decorum of a government meeting. On this particular day, she tossed the rulebook aside, asserting herself with her signature defiance and dramatic flair. From the outset, it was clear this would be yet another fiery chapter in Dalton's ongoing political saga. Tensions between Henyard and the trustees quickly reached a boiling point, with the mayor once again playing to the crowd. Her leadership style felt more like that of a reality TV star than a public servant, leaving residents divided. As the chaos unfolded, onlookers were left wondering if her actions were part of a calculated power play or simply another display of her unwillingness to abide by governance norms. The spectacle highlighted the deeper issues plaguing Dalton, a town now infamous for its political theater. While Henyard's bold approach captivated audiences, many were left questioning the sustainability of such leadership as the town faces mounting challenges.
Invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure the right...
Instead of joining the trustees at the Park District building for the scheduled meeting, Mayor Tiffany Henyard made a bold and controversial move. She held her own meeting back at Village Hall. It was a defiant power play, as if to remind everyone that she was in charge and would run things on her terms, no matter what anyone else thought. But her plan didn't go as expected. Only 2 trustees showed up to her impromptu gathering, far short of the number required to legally hold a meeting. Without a quorum, Henyard was forced to cancel her self-declared session, an embarrassing setback for someone attempting to assert dominance. Refusing to back down, she jumped into her car and headed straight to the Park District building, where the trustees were holding the official meeting, determined to make her presence felt. The official meeting at the Park District building was proceeding smoothly without Mayor Tiffany Henyard, until everything changed. Henyard stormed in unannounced, disrupting the proceedings and drawing all attention to herself. What had been a functional, albeit tense, gathering quickly devolved into chaos. Her sudden arrival sent shockwaves through the room, leaving trustees and attendees stunned. The already tense atmosphere erupted into confusion as Henyard took center stage, once again refusing to play by anyone else's rules. The spectacle added yet another chapter to the ongoing political theater that has come to define Dalton's governance. Her disruptive entrance underscored her contentious leadership style, one marked by defiance and unpredictability. As the dust settled, the deepening divide between Henyard and the trustees became more apparent. leaving residents caught in the middle of an escalating power struggle that shows no signs of resolution.
A temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from trustees.
The moment Tiffany Henyard walked into the room, the tension spiked, an almost electric charge rippling through the crowd. Residents, already worn down by her antics and controversial leadership, reacted visibly to her sudden arrival at the trustees' meeting, an uninvited and unwelcome guest in what had been a tense but functional session. Some attendees, unable to contain their frustration, turned their backs on her as she entered, a silent but powerful gesture of disapproval. Undeterred and ever dramatic, Henyard approached the microphone with an air of defiance, proclaiming, "I am the mayor of the village of Dolton," as if to reassert her authority in a room that clearly wasn't having it. But before she could say another word, the crowd erupted into a cacophony of boos and shouts, drowning out her declaration with a wall of sound fueled by anger, frustration, and sheer exhaustion from Dolton's never-ending political turmoil. The uproar was immediate and unrelenting, a visceral reaction from residents who felt ignored, misled, and increasingly burdened by the fallout of Mayor Tiffany Henyard's controversial tenure. Her attempt to commandeer the meeting only poured fuel on an already volatile situation, with attendees openly challenging her presence and motives. What began as a routine trustees meeting quickly unraveled into a chaotic spectacle, with Henyard once again at the center of the storm. As a polarizing figure, her actions seemed to widen the already vast divide between herself and the people she claimed to represent. The room, thick with tension and raw emotion, became a battleground of words and gestures, highlighting the community's escalating frustrations and growing demands for accountability and effective leadership. Henyard's dramatic entrance and the crowd's hostile response underscored just how deeply trust had eroded under her administration, leaving many to question whether reconciliation or resolution was even possible, as Dolton continued to grapple with its deepening divisions.
The judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from trustees.
Witnesses described a scene of pure chaos as Mayor Tiffany Henyard attempted to seize control of the volatile trustees meeting, only to be met with a deafening wall of boos, shouts, and overwhelming public disapproval. Determined to assert her authority, Henyard tried to speak over the uproar, demanding respect and declaring the meeting illegal. Her stated goal was to push through key appointments, including naming a new police chief. But her words were drowned out by the furious crowd, a group of constituents who had grown weary of what many saw as her heavy-handed leadership. The room was thick with tension as Henyard struggled to maintain her composure, faced with a community that had clearly lost its patience and was no longer willing to give her the floor. The noise, frustration, and outright hostility proved insurmountable, as Mayor Tiffany Henyard lasted just 7 minutes before being forced to leave the room, effectively booed out by the very people she claimed to serve. What followed was pure pandemonium. Henyard stormed out of the building, visibly enraged by the crowd's rejection. The situation quickly spiraled out of control. Reports began circulating that Henyard, incensed by the public humiliation, allegedly became physical with one of the officials present. This altercation only escalated the already volatile atmosphere, drawing gasps from stunned witnesses and pushing tensions to an all-time high. The police, stationed nearby in anticipation of trouble, swiftly intervened to restore order. But what happened next shocked everyone. Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the self-declared super mayor of Dolton, Illinois, was arrested. The arrest marked a stunning turn of events, the culmination of a meeting that began with high stakes and ended in dramatic consequences. Residents watched in disbelief as Henyard, a once polarizing figure who had positioned herself as a beacon of leadership, was led away in handcuffs. Her attempts to regain control of the narrative were undone by the sheer weight of public dissent and her own actions. The fallout left the community reeling, serving as a stark reminder of the deep divisions and mounting tensions that have come to define Henyard's controversial tenure.
The government always does it, is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're...
The live feed of the meeting, which had been broadcasting the entire spectacle, was abruptly cut off, as Henyard was taken into custody. The scene was surreal, the sitting mayor dragged out of her own meeting in handcuffs. It's the kind of thing you'd expect to see in a movie, but no, this was real life. So, what exactly led to this dramatic arrest? To truly understand, we need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. This moment didn't come out of nowhere. In fact, it's the culmination of months, maybe even years, of mounting tension, chaos, and Henyard's trademark defiance. Let's dive into the backstory, because trust us, it's a doozy. Tiffany Henyard has been making waves in Dolton for a long time, and this arrest is just the latest chapter in a saga of controversy. Since taking office, Henyard's tenure has been mired in one controversy after another. Whether it's clashing with the trustees, ignoring legal orders, or making appointments without the board's approval, Henyard has made it clear that she's going to do things her way. And it's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Take, for example, the time she appointed a new village manager, village attorney, and police chief, all without the board's approval. That's right, she didn't even bother to get the trustees' okay on these major decisions, which, as you can imagine, is how local government is supposed to work. The trustees weren't having it, so they took the matter to court. A judge stepped in and issued a restraining order, telling Henyard in no uncertain terms that she couldn't make those appointments without the board's approval. But did she listen? Of course not.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor and people's super.
Henyard has a habit of pushing boundaries, and that restraining order was just another line she crossed. At one point, there was even talk of holding her in contempt of court because she continued to ignore the legal process. Her moves to consolidate power have earned her many enemies in Dolton. And it's not just the trustees who are fed up with Dolton. At every turn, it seems like Henyard is more interested in clinging to power than actually working with the people she's supposed to represent. And let's not forget the financial scandals. Rumors have been swirling about Henyard's alleged misuse of public funds, with whispers of lavish spending, questionable taxpayer-funded trips, and a complete lack of transparency. As the self-declared super mayor, she has tried to rally support on social media, telling her followers to stand with me and claiming that she's fighting against entrenched interests. In one recent post, she wrote, "I need all my black sheep to stand with me. You are not alone. If God is for us, then who can be against us?" It's almost as if she sees herself as the hero in this story, standing up to a corrupt system that's out to get her.
The backs of taxpayers, but what do we gain from any of these trips? We gain.
What's going on is a lot more complicated than it seems. While Henyard has managed to maintain some supporters, the tide is clearly turning against her. Residents are fed up, trustees are done with her power plays, and even the courts are stepping in to stop her. It's as if Henyard is fighting a battle on all fronts, and at this point, it's hard to see how she'll survive. The village's finances are in disarray, and Dolton and Thornton Township are now part of a federal probe as part of a larger investigation into Henyard's alleged misuse of public funds. It's not just local controversy anymore. Things are getting serious. Leaked documents have surfaced showing questionable spending, particularly on taxpayer-funded trips that seem to have no clear purpose. We're talking about thousands of dollars spent on travel, accommodations, and who knows what else, all paid for with public funds. It's no wonder the FBI is involved. There's clearly something going on here that doesn't add up. And speaking of reactions, let's circle back to the fans, because, trust us, people have a lot to say about this one. One fan commented, "I suppose she'll be saying it's only clickbait and fake news when she's in court again." Honestly, that pretty much sums up how Henyard has tried to brush off these allegations, as nothing more than attacks from her enemies. But at this point, it's hard to ignore the mountain of evidence stacking up against her. Another fan pointed out she's been a criminal her whole life. After all, she was arrested for breaking into cars in 2016. She probably already has a long rap sheet. Now, we can't confirm if that's true, but it's clear that Henyard's reputation is far from spotless. She's been in hot water before, and it seems like she's right back in the middle of it again. So, what do you think? Is this the end of the line for Tiffany Henyard, or will she find a way to bounce back once again? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for all the latest updates on this wild saga, because trust us, this story is far from over.